Hey folks, Jamie Stokes from Real Page. Today's video we're going to do on deposits. So when you're buying a house, you need to put down a deposit. This is part of your agreement of purchase and sale. This is one of the things that are going to bind your agreement. Now, this is part of an agreement is consideration. So consideration can be a few different things. It doesn't, I mean, you can put a deposit down for a penny if you like, if the sellers and the buyers are okay with this. Now, we typically see that serious buyers will put down a larger deposit, which is excellent. It shows the seriousness of how actually serious the buyers are. If they're not serious, they're only going to put a little bit of skin in the game, but maybe they don't have a lot of money for a deposit. So how much do you need for a deposit? Well, different areas have different deposits. For example, a place that isn't large like the GTA, a small town, different part of Ontario, they would have a different deposit typically. Now, when you have Toronto buyers that are coming out there, they're typically putting up large deposits regardless because they've got the money, which I know irritates a lot of small town agents and buyers. But when you have people from Toronto coming out that way and buying, they're typically using larger deposits. So larger deposits are kind of used to measure the seriousness of the buyer if they've got a lot of money. Now, I want to point one thing out here. You don't need a large deposit when you're buying a home. And I want to point out that regardless of how much your deposit is, you're still as a seller, you're still receiving the same amount when you're closing the deal. So, you don't get to touch the deposit. You don't receive the deposit. You don't receive the transfer of funds, nothing like that until the day that the deal closes. So if they have a $1 deposit or a $100,000 deposit, really it doesn't make much of a difference because you're not going to see any of that until your deal closes regardless. So I just wanted to point that out. It makes no difference in that sense how large or small the deposit is. Now, agents typically like to have a larger deposit as to see that the buyers are serious. If they don't follow through on their contract, they're going to lose their deposit. So if they put up a larger deposit, obviously they have more to lose if they don't follow through on their deal. I mean, they're going to be sued if they don't close on it regardless and lose all kinds of money, minimum tens of thousands of dollars. They could end up having to cover both sides' legal fees, utilities, carrying costs, the price difference, all kinds of things, whatever the seller is out because you didn't close on your deal. So your deposit, they say that you need 20% as a deposit, but you actually don't need 20% as a deposit. So if it's less than 20%, 20% down, you're going to need to buy mortgage insurance from CMHC, Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation. So this deposit down payment, if it's below 20%, you're tacking on additional monthly fees because you need to pay for mortgage insurance as well. So these are going to make your fees go up monthly because you have to pay for your mortgage insurance. If it's less than 5%, I think 5% is the minimum that the banks will take. Might even not be the case, but you can put down any amount that you want as a deposit. Honestly, it's between the buyer and the seller, and your agreement of purchase and sale. It's a negotiation tool basically. So you're going to put in there what's included, what's not included, details of the property, things like this. Light fixtures, window coverings, washer, dryer, appliances, heating and ventilation systems, things like this, AC units, furnaces, whatever the case may be. These are all bargaining items that go into your agreement of purchase and sale. So your deposit doesn't have to be 20%. It doesn't have to be 5%. Banks may require a minimum of 5% down in order to use the bank for a mortgage. If you don't have 5%, I want to point out you can also go to a mortgage broker, and a mortgage broker can go through, and this has to do with credit as well. If you've got, not so great credit, your mortgage broker can search around and they will find you somebody that may give you a mortgage if you have not a very large deposit at all. They may be more hesitant. Obviously everybody wants to see that you're serious and that you have some skin in the game. But if your deposit is not huge, that doesn't mean that you can't buy a house. So for those of you who are saving up that 20% down, there was an article in the paper a couple of years ago saying if you made $185,000 a year, it would take you 24 years to save up for a down payment for a house in Toronto. Now that's even more because we've got additional builder fees and things like this. So this has really put a strain into things, because if you start working as soon as you're legally eligible to in Canada, you're not starting out making $185,000. So where does that leave you? It's probably more like 60 years to save for a down payment. Who can save up 20% of $1 million home? Do you have $200,000 sitting around? I know a few people that probably do, but not many. Your average Canadian doesn't have $200,000 sitting around to buy to put down as a deposit for $1 million home. And most homes these days are pushing $1 million or over $1 million anyways. That's not to say that you can't buy something cheaper, but use your agreement of purchase and sale and your negotiating tactics to make a deal that actually works. So you don't need 5% down. You don't need 20% down. You can put down whatever you like. The negotiation comes between whoever may finance your mortgage, and that could be a private mortgage, a private lender. There are private lenders out there. If you reach out to your mortgage broker, they've probably got people who are doing private mortgages. Your rates will probably be a little bit higher, but if you're trying to save with the cost of living and whatnot these days, you're not going to be able to save for it. I mean, rents are crazy, crazy expensive. Cost of living, food, groceries, utilities, cell phone bills, etc., car, gas, whatever. So, you don't need 20% down. Don't worry about saving up for 20% down. If you can save up 20% down, all the power to you. That's fantastic. That will help you secure a mortgage at a cheaper rate. If you don't have a large deposit, that doesn't mean that you can't buy. Talk to your mortgage broker. If you need mortgage brokers, reach out to me and I can forward you some mortgage broker information for some mortgage brokers that I know and trust. These mortgage brokers, they will go, and they're not like the banks. They don't get paid an hourly salary, so they're not going to sit on your file for weeks or months. If they want to get paid and they want to pay their bills, they're going to go and find you a way to make your deal close that's affordable to you. If it's not, they're going to tell you that. So I had a conversation with one of my mortgage broker friends recently, and was asking him a little bit of information about mortgages. I stay out of the mortgage lane myself because I'm not a mortgage broker, and I don't want to be giving out advice on something that I'm not top in my game at, as opposed to real estate. So real estate, I can have conversations for days about real estate. I love talking about real estate. But mortgages isn't what I do as a professional, so I don't discuss mortgages with people. I give them I might tell them a few things, typically not. Even if they have questions for me, I'll say a few things, maybe, typically not. I'll just send them on to a mortgage broker. I'll give them several mortgage brokers' names, and they can choose through there, or they can Google their own. I don't receive any kickbacks from mortgage brokers, so it's nothing like that. I just want to see people be able to buy a home. So 20% down, you don't need 5% down, you don't need. Talk to your mortgage broker and find out what you do need in order to purchase a home. You'd be surprised with your credit rating and things like this. Reach out to your mortgage broker, and if you need a mortgage broker's name, reach out to me. If you want to work on a deal, I'd be happy to help you out. Reach out to me personally. My cell phone number is 289-927-5991. My email is jamiestokesrealestate@gmail.com. I'll see you in the next video.